My name is Timothy, and this is TA Garage. Alright, well, today I'm going to work on the door. I got to pull the guts and stuff out of this one, or that one, and put it in this one. I've already gutted this one the rest of the way down. Did a little bit of body work on the outer shell, and there's a dent down here I fixed up. Ain't perfect, just got a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and hit some of these spots with some rust, preventative paint, just to help it. Clean it up a little bit. It's not really rotted, it's just pitted, and I want to go ahead and stop what I can. The other side isn't painted. Fix the dent down there on the end. Sorry I didn't film it, but I got a little spot up here still, but I can't get to it. I'll have to get with it. I'll do the body work on it later. This door I know isn't the original door, and it doesn't quite fit right, but I need the glass and everything out. This door was originally a gold door, and it got repainted. It was a gold in and out. This one actually has the correct interior T3 color, and the door seems to fit a little bit better. And this one was beat up back here, and the door curvature doesn't quite fit the quarter panel at all, which would make sense if it's from a different manufacturer, different die, doesn't quite fit right. And I'm pretty sure that other door is the original door, but I need to primer it and paint it. And while I'm doing all that, so I think I'm going to paint it quite soon first. Might do a little bit more work here, getting that a little bit smoother out. Ain't no big deal, but I want to paint the underneath of this trunk lid because a little bit of surface rust on the lip. I want to make sure I stop it. And I think I need to plug weld that little spot right there. That little tack came loose. Clean up some of this, just make sure it's all good. Weld up that pinhole. Just to get it done for now. Take my razor and I'm going to trim the rest of that off, like just the loose stuff. And I'm also going to paint the underneath of the hood. And what I mean by paint is I'm actually going to try to match up this color and paint it this. Well, somewhat. I need to call wife and get some rattle can paint. Actually, she's going to be busy digging it. Okay, I'll think about that. I may paint the inside of this door to match, since the door jambs and everything matches, to make it all match. Definitely want to paint the bottom of the hood, so that way it's good and coated real good. Definitely see it on the back that needs to get painted again. I've already repaired the hood, well, a long time ago. But yeah, it's pretty much what I'm doing. Take the wire wheel and scuff this up, and I'll flip it over. Then I'll paint this. That way it can dry real quick. May take me an edge, so that way I'm only hitting this one side. Paint seam halfway there. That's kind of odd. That must have been from when they repainted it, because it technically should come down to here and split like that one does. Pretty sure. I don't know. Oh well. So I'm gonna do that and paint the other side. Might as well, if I mix up the paint, might as well hit some of this too. I don't know. I may just coat that top part black. I might hit it a little bit. While we're there, type thing. And if I mix up paint, I'd rather mix up a little bit. And I will probably end up hitting these window jamb areas. Just kind of hitting them. I'm going to figure out something with those clips. I have another car that has them, so I may try to pull those out. May hit the front and rear window. That way you can see underneath, and I guess it's about right. Trim's going to hide a bunch of it, but at least I can get up to that edge. So, yeah. Do a little bit of finishing up on this door. try to smooth it out a little bit, and then I'll hit it with the little brush thing and then get it set up and get that. And I guess I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do about the paint. Alright, so I'll let y'all go. Alright, so here's my thinking process on this. As you've seen, I rolled this Rust-Oleum Rust primer. I rolled it on because I want it thick. This door is so pitted, the whole thing. It's been stripped before and then it was left stripped, so the whole thing's just surface pitted. That process, rolled this paint on, which will stick, thick. I'll come back and I'll sand it and see if I can smooth a bunch of it out. It ain't going to be perfect, but if I can get a bunch of it, hey, it looks pretty good. It's going to look textury now anyways because it's thick and the roller texture and all that. But it does. The roller did not slide one bit except for the one part that was painted. A little bit up here. It was sliding. It wasn't actually rolling. This whole part it was just rolling on. So we're going to try that and see what that does. This paint usually dries pretty good and it sands usually pretty good. This is what I used on the primer for that truck. And it worked out pretty good and it sanded really good. So, let that dry. I'm going to sand it down. And I'm going to weld up the back of this. Couple of spots I need to weld up on this. And I guess actually I can turn the hood over once it's done draining and spray it. I may actually spray it with that black rubberized paint underneath. And then hit it up on top of the coat of this stuff. And I ended up not painting this part. I just clear coated it. It'll be fine for now. It'll be good. Most of it will be hidden anyways. I just stopped the rust. But yeah, let that dry. It'll probably take a little bit. I'm hoping the sun's going to pop back out. It'll dry it real quick. That's kind of my thought process on it. So yeah. I guess I'm going to prep weld up the trunk lid and then prep that and the hood, and this should be good to sand by then. Alright, so me and Dad got the hood in last night, and I got everything painted. I had to repair the hood, I can tell here. It's where it was kind of bent, kind of folded up a little bit. I tried to pull that out as best I could, and then I just welded over it. What I couldn't pull out, and it helped to reinforce a little bit. Just so, this two little dimples here is what makes it a Daytona hood, and not a 70 Charger hood. Just a little fact. I mixed up the paint, and, well, I think I made it a little bit more orange when I was mixing it, so it may be a little bit different. My paint was clumping up pretty bad. I had to use 2 filters to get through it, and yeah, my orange was kind of getting bad. Which I'm out of orange now, so that was another thing. But I think I had a little bit too much orange, but this paint is kind of weird to me because it's not like the other ones I've done, and it will darken very much. So it could actually end up more like that, which looks orange. This door, even though I sanded it, still is not as dark. Then you get like this, it's more brownish looking. Yeah, maybe can't tell the difference. But this actually has more of that coppery color that I'm kind of going for. Which the original color on this door, it's the original, maybe you guys can see it, but it's like that. It's hard to find the happy medium. Another thing I was looking at is that rattle can that I found almost matches that. So, I don't know. May paint that, may not. This door fits better. I do believe the quarter panel has been broke before here. And I need to cut them loose and actually pull this quarter panel back up because it is quite a bit off. But it is a whole lot closer than what that door was, because it was way off when you try to get it close. Trunk lid's on. Got it pretty well lined up right. Got the passenger door back on. I ain't got the latches and stuff on it, but it's on. A little bit more adjusting, I'm sure. So next thing, couple things I need to do is need to put the glass in, but since I got daylight and stuff out and I'm going to be doing some of that, I think I'm going to move over to suspension. So I'll do this part later. So I'll get back to you when I start doing on this. Alright, so I'm back. Gonna see if I can get these door transferred over. I did paint the inside because it had some rust spots. Surface rust, go ahead and get it kind of covered up and everything. Wasn't too bad. Start pulling this door apart and see if I can get it ready to put parts on this one. I am going to tear that door apart so that way I can do the passenger side mirror, and that's going to involve me transferring. I believe the measurements from this door is the same I need to do to that door. So I'll be transferring measurements from this door and putting it on that door and drilling the hole and putting the right side mirror on, because this car, it's going to have a really bad spot about the right side blind spot because the way that Chargers are, and this makes it worse. So side mirror is going to be a must because that will actually help a lot with this. So, see if I can get this door took apart and get it put onto this one, which is just a bare hole. So yeah, get started on that and then go from there. Alright, so we're back on the front suspension here. What I'm going to do is go ahead and push my upper control arms, get the bushings installed. I'm going to try to use the vice versa what I did, and then I'll get the rest of it pulled out of the lower control arms, weld them up the way I want to, and get them ready. First, I want to get the upper control arms pretty much together. I'm going to go install the bushings in them and get them ready for paint. Alright, so I have the camera precariously positioned in that spot and hopefully don't fall off the engine. Yeah. No, I don't like the way that is. Try this. Alright, that might work. So the way I found this is a inch and a quarter socket and a inch and 7/16 socket. Reason why I chose those two, and then I use my vise. It kind of seems like a little bit easier. I think you can use a press. The vise just seems to work pretty decent on this. Reason why I picked those two sockets, the inch and 7/16 fits over this part, because you got your bushing here, and you don't really want to push on that because it can ruin your bushing. But it's got this metal flange that fits right there, but grabs that metal flange. And this one is big enough that it can go inside here. So, what I do is get your control arm up, get it kind of set in there, hit a little bit of spray, and then we take this socket, inch and 7/16. I'm going to get it started. Kind of has a little awkward here. Get it started. That way it squares up. I'll pull it back off. So I got it started in. Back my vise out. That way I can fit the other socket. A little bit more. Kind of pushes my vise out to the limit. Once we get to there, try to get that socket centered. That way it can go through. And just start pressing it on. See, this socket is grabbing that metal housing, and you're pushing on that housing and not on the actual bushing. So I can get a little more lubricant just to help it ease in there more. So you're not prematurely wearing out your bushing. And you went to a solid thud, here a little bit more. And that one is in. Just like that. Do it one more time. That's how I did the first one. Had to give myself a little bit of remembrance. This is just to kind of help with the friction and stuff, just to help it get in there more. You could probably use grease too. I would have used it, but it's over there. So, and this was right there. Rotate it this way. Try to get it to sit square so we can start easy. And it'll bottom out on that bushing because it hits the back. Screw this one all the way out. And plus, if we get a little bit through, that bushing will collapse, and then you can kind of get this a little bit more set. A little easier. Get these in here just right. Alright. Going in smoothly. Oop. Hit a hard spot, so it must have caught that socket on the inside here. Yeah, it felt like it bottomed out because it just stopped. See, now this one I'm having a little bit of problem with. Bent that little metal edge in just a little bit. See, now I do this one on camera and it's gonna give me a fit. Nope. Ah. Alright. I must have hit it down there. Okay. See, my socket caught the bushing, and it kind of got it all messed up now. Alright, let's see if I can get this figured out. My fault. Alright, that one took more effort. Show you where I screwed up here. My socket bit there. It caught on the socket on the backside, and when I kept going, this little metal edge gave in to this socket, so it started shoving it in. What I had to do was I did flip this socket around where this sit flush here. Don't like doing that, but I was watching the bushing and it started going in again. That's where it can put stress on them, but this one wasn't going to go, so I had to do it that way. But it don't look like the bushing's very fatigued. So yeah, get these cleaned up, degreased, and get them ready for paint. And then I'll put the ball joint in. That way I don't get any paint on the ball joint. And I ain't got to tape anything off. So yeah, I'm going to get that set up and ready for that. Alright, go ahead and get these upper control arms on. I already screwed this ball joint on. It's not exactly tight, but I want to install this with the keyways in it, or the bolts for the upper bushings. I got to tap it in place, use a rubber mallet. And then once I get the bolts and everything through and kind of snugged up, I will take the socket again and tighten it down. Tap it side to side. All right, in there. You kind of lined up a little bit here. Get it kind of started. Before I do that, I'm actually going to put a little bit of grease here. Just on the inside part of the bolt. Keep it a little bit lubricated in case I got to adjust these or anything. Then it keeps them from getting stuck. That one's in. Go ahead and put the other lock washer. I got it pointed down. Lock washer and the nut. Or the cam washer, lock washer, the nut. The back side. Right there. Cam washer. Lock washer and the nut. and leave them loose. See if I can grab a 3/4 wrench. And basically be a rinse and repeat to the other side. Get the ball joint tightened on. This one's being a little bit more stubborn. This is how you adjust your toe and everything. You can adjust those cams and it'll adjust with it. Alright. So got that on. Make sure this is nice and tight. Oh. Right when you pop it back, you're good. Before you use impact on it, because I'll probably strip it out. I'm going to grab the little grease fitting from here. Put this back in the box. That way it's got the boot and everything, but I want to put the grease fitting in it so that way it doesn't get trashed in there. I said I was going to put the grease fitting in there. I'm going to point those backwards. That way the dirt and debris won't go over the front. It's all nice and tight. I might be able to put that boot on just to cover it up. Might just stay on there. Did it actually snap on? Yeah, come here, you.
inside. After all this time, this was it for us. Change your energy, yeah, you switch things up. Now you seem brand new to me. But was that even for? Was you playing your games? Was you really bored? No, I really should've known. They were dynamite till we hit a red light.
Alright, so I'll show you guys these little mounts that I welded on, or how I beef these up a little bit. And they do a lot. Alright, so I got some little pieces of steel, about like the same thickness as the control arm. Instead of buying those plates that go all the way across the bottom and stuff, I don't like them. Here's why I don't like them. Because it completely covers up the bottom. And where I live, and the dirt roads and the clay roads and all that, guess where all that dust and stuff usually can pack in here a little bit. I don't like that. So, little piece here. Just weld these two. Sometimes you can clamp these to close them up a little bit. These weren't too bad. This one's a little bit looser, but it's actually about right where you'd want it. This one's a little tight on a certain spot. One of these has been bottomed out real hard, so I'm sure it wouldn't surprise me if one of them was a little bit bent. Heck, me actually looking at it right now. I knew this one had hit something, but it's not too bad. Might be a little tweaked. I don't know. It don't look too bad. I welded up that little spot that was there. I'm going to grind that down real quick. But yeah, tab back here, just to kind of help hold this back because there's nothing back here that clamps those together. So having one there just kind of helps this kind of stay in its spot. This can usually widen open a little bit. Then here, I like one because you have this mount up on top, but yet you don't have anything except for these. These do a little bit where it goes in the slots, but this just kind of helps tie it in together right here in the middle and the bottom. Keeps it from bowing in and bowing out. And then they tack weld or spot weld, 4 spot welds on this top bracket. I like to weld here, 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 and here, and that basically sends that brackets together. You could weld up the sides and everything, but I don't feel like it's really necessary. This isn't like a full-on rally car or nothing like that. It's just kind of making them a little bit tougher where they don't give as much. I like to do it, and the best part is you don't really have that area where a bunch of mud and stuff can get in there, and you can wash them out a little bit easier because it is a pain in the butt. They do free move. This one's a little tough, but it's fine. It's not like these move all the time anyways, but whenever you lift the car and stuff, you do want them to move, which I'll squirt some grease in here and kind of get it in there after I paint it just to help them free up a little bit. I could potentially wedge me a piece in here, lightning. Wedge me a chisel in there, and I could probably open it up to where it'll move a little bit better. It was already tough to work with before I welded it. So, I'm going to grind this down real quick and get these ready for paint, and then well, before I paint them, I'm actually going to install these bushings in. I'll probably do that with the press, and as dark it is, and the thundering and all that, I may not film that unless it gets bad enough, and then I probably won't do that today. Yeah, try to get these bushings and everything pushed in, but I want to grind this down real quick, and then I'm going to call it a day. Well, we got this storm brewing in, so And then I can put the torsion bars in, because I can put them in from the front instead of having to slide them all the way to the back and then risk breaking those boots. I can slide them in frontward, I believe, and then I can slide them past a little bit and then put the control arm in and then slide them back forward and get them in. And then I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do, clean those up, the spindles, and I'm going to have to order some ball joints. I can't find the set that I used to have, so I'll have to order another set. And then I can start throwing the front end together, and then it can be back on its wheels, honestly. So I'm going to grind that down, make it look a little bit nicer, and see if I can get those bushings pushed in before it gets too bad. And I will give you all an update. Alright, so I had to take the control arms back apart, because whenever I was tightening this front bolt for the pin up front here, well, this pin here, which is pushing, this is another new one, goes onto the pin and it goes into the control arm. These are not supposed to spin, so it'd go on like this. Well, It did. And it got to the point where I even took the pin and I was able to take a new bushing and I was able to just put them on by hand. I didn't catch those the first time. And then, so I pulled both pins apart because I'm sure it's probably these bushings, the inner diameter is too big. Or the pins could be wore. I went ahead and put a couple weld beads on it just to give it some area to bite, and it sticks up a little bit to expand this collar. So now when I push it, it actually goes in really good. I've already done it to this one, so I know it works. This one, everything soaks up in there. I did this one first, and it worked until I pushed it in too far, and I blew the collar out of the bushing. So it ripped it. The second time I did it, when I was pressing this back in with the control arm, this being in the control arm, pushing it in, I put me a socket to the back side because there's a hole just big enough for this to go through. Because this is big enough to go through the control arm. Right here. So you can see through there, that hole, that bushing hole, that metal bushing collar can go through that. And when I was pushing it without anything there, I pushed it too far and I ripped it through. So that was more my fault. So I loaded up both pins, sanded them down. These do bite really good now. This was in there pretty good. It was a pain in the butt to pull it back out because it was no good. So I'm going to reinstall this, put it in. Then when I put this pin in, because now it's tighter with these ridges, and it locks in better, I put a socket through the other side of the hole that just fits inside that hole and hits this collar. And then I squish it in and it doesn't push this collar through the bushing and cause it to prematurely wear or break. But I mean, I just added a little bit. There's probably 100 thousandths maybe added on both sides just to really cinch it down. And it works, so instead of buying more new bushings, even though 3 bushings did the same thing of me just being able to install it and pull it back out, and going through the process of finding new bushings, or if the pin's bad, one of the two, trying to figure out that process, wet a little bit on the pin, it would work, locks it in place, and works very well. So that's one issue I ran into. I'm going to finish putting this one together and put the lower control arms in finally. Then I'll be getting somewhere again. Aftermarket parts, just the way it goes. Alright, so it's been a little bit. Had Had to take the other side to put this little foam on the back of the backing plate. Got this side on. Got some more parts in too. A little bit further down the week. I gotta try to put this car back on its 4. I got the rear drones painted. Got them on and adjusted on. Got them a little bit more on the snugger side because there's a little bit of pits in it. They're smooth and everything, but there is a little bit of pits and stuff, but it's not worth having them turned. It's going to work. I guarantee they're going to work pretty good. It just might take a little bit to get it a little bit wore down. So I put them on there a little bit snug, get everything broke in. Not too tight. You can still turn it by hand. And got the lug nuts on. Or the lug studs on. Got the rear end jacked up. I'm going to hit a couple little spots with paint. And then put the wheels on and then set it back down. So I'm going to do that real quick. Well, I ran into a hiccup. 4-piston Bendix calipers, brakes on these B-bodies, which is what a true 69 B-body would have. Oh, they're a pain in the tail end. But there was this aftermarket company that made some, and I bought them like when they first came out. It's like, crap, need them, gonna try them. Well, I got them. I already had them cleaned up and painted them red. One difference from an old caliper, as you can tell, something has happened. The original Chrysler had bolts inside these bolts here for the brackets to mount on that are sitting on that door. So that way you can mount the holes and stuff. These are also the same on an AMC Javelin. I say that. Found out. But I'm assuming there's a difference in the rotors. But I ended up welding these little bolts on the end, and it was fine. I had a little convex area here. I just welded them on. That was fine. Getting ready to put these on. Well, I can actually show you real quick because it's not going to hurt to do this and scratch it up and everything. Well, I came over here and I went to go put the rotor on. These are, by the way, these are vice versa, left and right. You just have to change the bleeder area on these calipers, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, the caliper itself don't even go over the rotor. My assumption, these were originally to be replacements for the AMCs, Javelins and stuff like that had these 4-piston calipers. My assumption is they were a solid rotor, not a vented rotor. Those are actually originals and they're 2-piece. They have the hub and then the disc rotor. These are the only ones that I'm aware of that you can get, and that's from year one. You can get slotted and drilled and all that, but they're expensive as crap. I think it was like $300 for rotors, but I really want to try these out. I've already put a little bit of money into them. I'm already almost there. I'm going to get this done. I want to see how well they work. I've heard really good about it, and I've heard that they're a pain in the butt. Kind of finding out. But they've reproduced these, and I thought, well, I'll try these just in case, back burner, you know. I think it's like D&E Friction. Same place I got the pads from. But I'm assuming that the AMCs had a solid rotor. So they weren't very thick. Like maybe a little bit thicker than this. But, you know, where it could fit in here. Well, that was the one thing. If I had the other one to show you. But yeah, it's like 1/4 of an inch. Not enough. Then I thought, well, if I come in here and I grind these down. Well, then I did one more measurement in between here and here. These two areas. That same difference here that I need is different here. So it wasn't going to make a difference. I wasn't going to be able to get the pads on, even if I was able to get it to slide over the rotor. Wasn't able to get the pads on. Alright. Well, my next... This is kind of a period of the whole day of how it kind of went down. Or half the day that I've been working on this. Well, next process. Bendix 4-piston original calipers, which are over here. They do not make aftermarket pistons. And they don't make aftermarket springs. There, you can't find any parts. You can barely find a rebuild kit. And that's if you get them from old stock. And they're not cheap either. I do have one. But I'm going to wait. Bendix. I have more money in the Bendix calipers. So if you're new to this, do not. Probably go a different route. I really want to see how these are. So that's why I'm going through it. And I want to know. So it's my own experiment, and it may go downhill. So, but for a beginner, don't do the Bendix. Put the later single piston caliper like 70 and 74 E body, and then up to 72 B body. Put those on it. That's what my other Charger has. They work. I just really want to see how these work. I've been told they work really well. They're just a pain in the butt to put together. But, enough of that rambling. I had 2 full sets of the original Bendix calipers. I was able to, amazingly, I don't understand how, get all 12 bolts out of the 2 sets of calipers out without breaking them. Some don't look the best. Some look alright, but there's, you know, this is probably like the best, the worst of the best. And then the worst get worse. Well, the problem was I knew one of my sets, my best set that I knew of that was already tore apart and was a pretty decent set to begin with. And the other set were completely still, nobody's took them apart, and they're like original and rusty to crap. And they're not too bad as I thought they would be, but they're pretty bad. But my plan was, I took my best piston that I had and my other pistons. I measured the gaps here and here, even used a micrometer. Everything's the same except for this outer ridge here, which is mainly the main bore piece for the cylinder. Fits in here. These new ones are the exact same everywhere, except they're 0.02 bigger, which these calipers are wore out. That set's actually only wore out 4-ish thousandths or so. They're not bad, but those right there, that one pair, and then I got the other half somewhere. It's been re-sleeved like a engine block. They bore all this out, and they put it like a new stainless steel piece and press it in there really, really tightly. Like cold chill it and heat the caliper, and it presses in there, locks them in really good. It's been redone before. It's probably what I'm going to have done to this other set. Because the bores are kind of terrible. I picked the 2 of the best, which were my better calipers, 2 of the worst. I still got some of them. They're a pain in the butt to get out. But after working on them and get them out, I'll probably eventually re-sleeve them. And use my other best pistons out of all of them. But the springs haven't been broke, so I have finally another full set of springs to do that other set. But basically all the parts and seals are the same, except for the 2 splitting, where these calipers split, because these calipers split in 2. The fluid from one transfers over through these holes. This is the side with the bleeder and the inlet. And it transfers here, so that way these work. And it goes through these little O-rings, which surprisingly are different. Smaller on this one, bigger on this one. Honestly, the smaller over here probably wouldn't hurt. But that's probably why they went smaller. But I'll put the old ones back in. They're still soft. So, kind of clean them up a little bit. That should be fine. They usually, from my understanding, they're not as bad of going bad. They'll usually swell up. And they're pretty well pinched in there really tight. But the springs, the piston, the seals, and all that's the same. Pistons are actually about 0.02 bigger, which is better because those are wore out. I think the book that I have says no more than 0.02. We're about 3 and 4 and 5. It'd be fine. I'm sure they'll somewhat seal, hopefully. But yeah, that's my plan. I spent all day trying to get these things tore apart. Got them apart. Trying to figure out what I'm doing. And I finally come to the conclusion after getting them cleaned. Pull the pistons, springs, put them in my best set of the old ones. I honed the other one because it's still the original bores and it's not been sleeved. It's okay. I've seen people do worse on the rebuild and they're not too bad over. They should work. These are within spec, and then these are a little bit past spec, but it should be fine. Those have a really good... The other one somewhere. I just put it up. I just wanted to update you guys. But yeah, I'm basically taking the guts out of the new ones to put in the old ones, so that way I can put them on. Because the new ones don't work. But, kind of a good thing, because you can't buy springs new. You can't buy them new, and you can hardly find them used. Pistons, you can't buy them new. You can hardly find them used. Seals, I found a set or 2. You can find them if you look through 15 different places to find them. and they dimble, but they're usually used. They're not, nobody, as far as I know, reproduces new, except for these people that make the calipers, but I don't think they sell just the kits. If they do, I'd love to be able to get just the kits and not have to buy a whole freaking caliper set and completely trash the rest of the caliper. But I guess you could use the bolts, maybe. Honestly, I'm kind of curious now. Even though, but like I said, you could weld them. Yeah, there's that much difference. Probably wouldn't use the bolts. Because these don't even go all the way through, so yeah. You can tell the difference of how much the caliper's shorter. About 1/4 of an inch, and that's what I was kind of figuring up. You could probably put grade 8 bolts and be fine. You just have to weld a nut on those. The way I got them broke loose was heated and impact and just kind of easy bumping it on the high setting and just getting it to break loose, and finally they torqued loose. Yeah, this is the company. Dynamic Friction Company, I think, is the people that also made the calipers. But yeah, the one nice thing about these calipers, they don't matter left and right. You just change the bleeder and the inlet of the hose. I'll have to make some lines. I ordered some, but they didn't come. They're not going to be here in time, so I'm going to have to just make some. So yeah, just wanted to update you guys. I'm trying to get this done because I'm running out of time. Oh yeah, got the car on the ground. I wanted to put these tires on because I was debating on putting a smaller tire, but honestly, that honestly sits perfect for me. I like the way the wheel looks. I know some people's going to hate it, but the red drum, I like that. I think it looks well. I'm going to do the same on the front with the calipers. I'm sure with those bigger calipers you can see them, so I'm going to do that. Those are 275 60-15s, and that's probably what I'm going to put on. I'm afraid with the gearing, but I'm not going to save much for the smaller tire. Those look way too much good to not do them, so I'm going to do them. Hoping to get the front end down, but it don't look like it tonight. I might push through it. Throw those together and get them ready. But yeah, I just wanted to update you guys. Alright, I figure I'll show you guys a little bit of this process. Maybe you guys can see it a little bit. Basically what I do here, there's not much to these things. There's 4 pistons. Each piston has 2 seals, a back seal, a dirt seal, and then a spring. So what I do is I pop them out of this one, grab that way, get it pulled up, and I kind of pinch it. If I can get a spot pulled up on the seal. This one's kind of been in there a little bit more. Usually if you can kind of get it started, it'll go. Of course, when I turn the camera on, it's going to be stubborn. Alright, I'll just pull the piston out of the dirt boot. Get that away. There's the piston and the first seal, the spring. What the heck? What's going on here? And I've been able to pull all of them off except for this one. Oh. There it goes. Alright, flip it in. Usually this comes off with this. So it kind of looks like this. Get your seal and dust boot once it's like in the cylinder. What I do is I roll the boot back. Sorry for the noise, but I blow it off. Blow that off. It's got a little bit of grease on it. I take me a little bit of brake clean. I already did it. And I wallow it around. Put the spring in. Big end goes down. Little end goes up. Pour a little bit of brake fluid on this. Use this as a lubricant. Not the lubricant that I just moved, but the brake fluid. Kind of gets centered on that little end there. And I just kind of push it to one end. Once I get it in there, I kind of just easily rotate it. Not really prying. Kind of helping the seal go in its little spot here. And once it goes in smoothly, go about halfway. Flip the boot around. And you got to push it in its little home. Just kind of work it around, let it go in. Just like that. And then I push it all the way down. And I make sure that that seal is all the way, or that boot's all the way down. And that's it. Then I got the two little rings here. Kind of clean them up, a little bit of brake fluid. Brush them off with my hand, kind of run it around a little bit. I'll blow them off. Put them in this little slot there. Same thing here. Just don't lose them like that. Push it off, make sure those surfaces are nice and good. Put it back on. That's pretty much it. Those are ready, sandwiched together. I'll clean them off once I get them sandwiched, and I'll paint them red and upper rubber hip for the night. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and show it, I guess. I think these bolts that I painted are dry. That way it help prevent these from completely rusting away. I'll go ahead and do this half first. That way that half can dry off a little bit. I haven't ever done these before, so this is just kind of me thinking what I'm doing. These bores definitely move better than that one does, so make sure these O-rings are right. Gonna give one last final wipe. The center bolt is the one I need to grab. It's the one without the hole in this one. So I'm going to run this bolt through first. Kind of get somewhat started here. Making sure that those are good. For it not to dance around like that. Knock all my bolts down. Get that one in. Another one in right there. Now, I'm just going to use the impact. Yep, we're good there. Just to get these kind of snugged down. Oh, that one's being a pain in the butt already. That's a little bit more than snug, I know. Heck, it ain't gonna hurt it being tight. These things were ultra tight. I'll make sure they're really tight and torqued when they're on the car. But I'm sure those are pretty tight. One good little clean off, and then that one will be ready to install on the car. And this one, I say they're not Pacific on the driver's side and passenger side. I already put the bleeder on, so this is going to be driver's side because you want the bleeder up the top. Go ahead and just kind of hit this with a little bit of brake clean I have. And clean those areas up. Did basically the same thing to that one. Grabbing bolts. Throw that one. We'll start with the center one. Put it through. That's not the center one. That's the one with the hole. That's the center one. Get these other two started. That one's snug. That one's snug. That one's snug. All right. Blow these off. Save you all from the noise. I'm just going to paint them red. Suck them red real good. I'm going to see if I can find some more brake clean first. All right. That's pretty much it. Except I was fighting and yeah, it's a bunch of other stuff. Oh, that's why I didn't really film it. Because it's just I didn't know what I was doing. Just kind of a bunch of jumping around. And luckily the guts out of the new ones work in the old ones, and luckily I'm able to get the old ones put together. Hopefully everything works. I do have to get some flare fittings because it's got the bubble end. There's nothing to hold it, so I have to get a flared end and then other flared end because those calipers actually have, yeah. Vance Auto Parts, it showed for the first ones that pulled one up, and they show they have them in stock tomorrow, so I'll have to pick up them and then make some lines. So yeah, get those cleaned off, and I'm gonna paint them again. And yeah, I'll put all those other ones in a bucket somewhere, and I'll probably see if I can have them sleeved so that way they can be redone. And yeah. All right. And hopefully tomorrow I can put this thing all together on the ground and then actually start sneak peek with the old engine block, which I was wanting to start on today. That didn't happen. Yeah, I'm going to get these painted and I'll show you guys me putting them on tomorrow, and hopefully I can run and get the lines maybe. Actually, I might be able to get my wife to get them. That way I ain't got to run town. I can go ahead and start on that. Oh, man. It's so nice seeing this thing back on its two wheels. Oh. Big boost in the right direction. I don't know what it is about that paint, but the longer it sits, the more brown it gets. But that one is pretty close. I need a little bit less orange than that and a little bit more orange than that, I think, and it'd be about the right color. I just don't know what I did on that one. All right. Well, I'm going to finish this up and get this all somewhat cleaned up. It's been a debacle, but hopefully it works out. Oh. All right. Well, I'm going to get back to it. All right. So it's next morning. Gonna go ahead and try this again, and hopefully it actually works this time. Put the mic up here, I guess. Ended up getting all new bolts for the calipers because these mount bolt directly to the spindle, and then the pistons kind of float. That's the best way I know how to describe it. I'll give them another cleaning whenever I get everything on. I got the old ones here. These should automatically work because they're there. I think they cut some of the threads down to help with the, what do you call it? Looks like this is the first one. Those are still tackier than crap. Okay, it looks like I'm not doing brakes yet. That paint is still wet. Alright, while those calipers are cooking over there in the sunlight, maybe that paint will actually, which I guess it makes sense. It was a little chilly last night, so oh well. Moving on over to the next here. This, I know they look a little funny if you are familiar with these. This piece would go like this. Hell, actually it goes underneath the K-member like this, but upside down. Well, they mount like that. These suckers are a pain, and they tell in to put bushings in. Because these are welded like this, and you have to put the bushing on the sway bar, and then you have to press this piece on the bushing on the sway bar. And it does not like to go in here. So I cut these off. This one actually was already bad. This has already been cut off on one side. I guess they broke it, and it was like this much of it gone. So I had to take this bracket off of this side, because I'm missing. I have two of these sides and one of this side. So I take the bracket off the spare of this side, so that way I can have it for this. What I'm going to do is basically make it bolt. So weld me a flat tab that goes here and here and here and here, so that way I can just bolt this piece on. Bolt it, and it sandwiches the bushing and done. I figure I can make those brackets work faster that way than me buying another set that basically intentionally does the same thing but a little bit different design. It's like a newer style design. Or I can use the cheaper bushings and keep the factory ones. Here are the bushings. Hey, I don't know what the instructions say. This might actually be a good thing. Hang on. Part of my demonstration here. Oh, hey, there's some lubricant there. Yeah, I tried these before and done it this way. Yeah, they ain't worth crap. Alright, so if you look at this, they have you put the bushing on the sway bar, put it on the sway bar. Then they want you to put the metal bracket that is welded together. And you see there, he's using a pair of pliers to put it on. That don't freaking work. At least not for me last time I did this. And they even note down here, if your brackets are pretty crappy, you can offer the other ones that they got that are... I mean, I just like the originality of these. And they are cheaper. Yeah, that's a pain in the butt, and I've done that. I even did it with a vise, and it does. Sometimes you'd even get them. I had to trim the other ones to get them to work. My brackets weren't even that bad. I got it on there, and the thing literally popped back out. Like, we got it fully set in there. I twisted the sway bar a little bit, and it just goes, just wormed out. So we're gonna bolt them. If that don't work, well, aftermarket ones it is. Because I think they're like a more newer design, but oh well. They're like double or triple the price, and I can make those work. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on that. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. So this one's done. The original bracket would have been basically this piece welded this piece. I added this ear to this piece after I cut it off, and I did a plate through the bottom. And it's all on there. It bolted up. I actually squished it a good half an inch whenever it went on, so it's snug in there, not going anywhere. That made it a whole lot easier to install, uninstall. You use the original ones, it's cheaper. A little bit of time, but here's the thing, you do it a little bit of time, these don't normally go bad either, but when they do, you have to take the whole sway bar completely off the car, fight with it to get it on these bushings, and it's a pain in the butt. I can actually now, because these always get bent, unbolt it, bend it back a whole lot easier now, repair it, put it back on. This little bit of work here makes that so much easier now. Alright, so would have probably left these little ears a little bit longer so it had more like this one. I just used a little piece and it would help sandwich it more. But happy with that, and I'm gonna get the other one done and get it painted and put it on the car. I got new end links, and honestly I think this is stronger, so it could be technically a little bit weaker because I guess it could try to pull apart here, but it won't be that bad though. I mean, for what it is, it ain't gonna hurt. Alright, well, I'm gonna get started on the other one.
Last time we talked, you had nothing to say. You chose to walk, give what we had away. I hope you get what you're looking for, but babe, with me, you close the door on everything we could have been. Don't go thinking we could be friends. No, you can't bring us back from the dead. 'Cause when you know, you know, and when you don't, when it ends, it ends. When it ends, it ends. I really thought we might have been it, so my heart was shattered when it took the hit. Oh, I can't imagine doing all that again, even for one night, to see where it went. Here's the thing, you made your bed, I just got your stay out of my head. No, you can't bring us back from the dead. 'Cause when you know, you know, and when you don't, when it ends, it ends. When it ends, it ends. End of the road, nowhere to go. You cut the ties, you burn the rope. So don't let me see your name lighting on my phone when it was you who let go of everything we could have been. Is it sinking in all your regret? No, you can't bring us back from the dead. 'Cause when you know, you know, and when you don't, when it ends, it ends. When it ends, it ends. I don't leave room to guess. When it ends, it ends. When it ends, it ends.
Alright. So I've been waiting for this moment for a while. Which I am going to get tires for it and everything. But I've been wanting this car back on the floor. On all fours. Still got one little brake line leak, I think. In that metering block. I think I got it again, but it slowly developed. Alright. And there it is. I know the tires are way out because I got the adjusters all the way in on both sides. So I know that. I want to say that should be about dead center. Ish. Somewhere in there. A little bit more. That should be about center. Yep, that's pretty well center. This side's got shocks. Back down. Alright. Well, I think that's going to be it. That should be the rear end put together and the front suspension and brakes and the rear brakes. Car's back on its feet and, well, all four tires and, yeah. Still got to put the rear shocks on and stuff. I got them over there. I need to make sure they're cleaned up and everything. I'm not too worried about them right now. Somehow the adjustment don't look too bad either. Honestly, where it sits is probably going to be the right height. I mean, I might put more tension to it, but as far as no motor, and if you were to look at it, this is probably about the right height. She'll take it some time to settle down and stuff. Even driving down the road and everything, kind of moving around. Somehow the tires don't look like they're too bad. This one's kicked out a little bit on the top. This one's kicked out a little bit on top too. Sway bar is a little bit to one side. It's kind of bound up, kind of. Well, maybe not. Looks like it, but I don't think it's as bad as it is. Alright. Well, thank you guys for watching, and see y'all next time.